Good morning and welcome to Get Real America. I'm Brittany Brown. Bill is out on vacation, so you have me today. It's a little chilly out there. I don't know if you guys, yesterday, it was quite stark difference from the day before. So little chilly, make sure you grab a jacket, or if you're anything like me, even though I am from Utah, which is a lot colder than here, I definitely need a coat. I think once you go south, you don't get used to this weather, the cold weather. What can I say? The U.S. now saying that they're raising the terror threat to a blinking red. So that came out yesterday. U.S. officials heightened terror warnings amid Israel-Hamas war and the border crisis. That was created by Joe Biden, might I add. His administration is going to probably be the thing that puts us in a very dangerous situation here in the U.S. because we have no idea how many people are in this country that want to do harm to our country. So that will be interesting to see play out. And Christopher Wray up on Capitol Hill, and he had a lot to say about this.
Is the greater possibility of one of these foreign terrorist organizations directing an attack in the United States. We haven't seen evidence that it's actually happening yet, but what we have seen is, and I listed them off in my opening remarks, one terrorist organization after another calling for attacks.
So we should wake up.
It is a time to be concerned. We are in a dangerous period.
So is the FBI able to track all threats and prevent these individuals from conducting an attack on U.S. soil?
I couldn't say that we were able to detect all individuals. With the people that we know about, as Secretary Rumsfeld used to say, the known, we're quite good at together with our partners. But it is the unknown that I worry about quite a bit.
So, Director Wray, can you say that we do not have either individual foreign terrorists or terror cells affiliated with foreign groups currently operating in the United States?
Well, we're not tracking that, but again, I point back to what it is. The gaps in our intelligence are real, and it's something that we have concerns about.
So, Director Wray, so what would you say right now to the American public? Because, like in my state, I've got a significant Jewish population. They're scared to go to synagogue, Chabad. They're scared to send their kids to day schools. So, but it's not just them. It's, other individuals, like my daughters called me and said, should they be sending their kids to school? What would you tell Americans right now about the threat today as compared to before?
This is not a time for panic, but it is a time for vigilance. We shouldn't stop conducting our daily lives, going to schools, houses of worship, and so forth. But we should be vigilant. You often hear the expression, if you see something, say something. That's never been more true than now, and that's probably partly why the American people are reporting more tips and leads to us, and we're pursuing those threats and leads as vigorously and responsibly as we can.
Thank you. Thanks.
Isn't he someone that makes you feel really safe that he is at the head of the FBI, since they have been targeting domestic terrorists, also known as parents going to school board meetings, and also, people that are anti-abortionists that are on the sidewalk. They love to go after those people too. So, and religious leaders. So the FBI really messed things up, I think. I think that they have not been focused on the right things, and now the chickens are coming home to roost, which is kind of scary to think about. And what's going to be happening in our country? I mean, we have all of these people coming over the border, which is scary in itself, just because we don't know who these people are. We also know that they don't share a shared culture with Americans. And I don't necessarily think they have any interest in being an American. They just want to come here and get our money. Our tax money, that is, because we're paying for them. And I believe in New York, they will spend over $12 billion over the next 3 years to house these immigrants. And that's just in New York City. So lots of stuff to look forward to as a taxpayer. And Halloween, we just had it the other day. And this is a video that came out that I was kind of surprised about. I was waiting for them to also take the bucket because it seems like there is going to be nothing left by the time all of these immigrants get done with us. They're coming in hand over fist, taking our money. I believe they're getting $2,200 a month, and that cash card is refilled every month. So very exciting stuff we get to do as taxpayers. One of the things that is very interesting is Elon Musk. I think that he deserves a lot of credit for buying Twitter. It was a huge risk. It is now called X. Some people are calling it Twix because they're calling it a mix between Twitter and X. So I thought that was interesting. But he's done a lot for free speech, and it's not perfect by any means. And I think that there are still some things they're dealing with at Twitter, the company formerly known as Twitter. It's going to be really hard for me to switch over. But Elon Musk, he took a big risk, and he's also battling the government now because he did take this risk, and they don't like that he's allowing free speech on his platform. He's put some questionable people in charge, but I do think that he has done a good job of making sure that people are getting their accounts back and that people are able to say things on Twitter that you're not allowed to say on Facebook or Instagram or name a social media website. He was on the 3-hour podcast with Joe Rogan. He had a lot of interesting things to say. And one of the most interesting things that I think applies to us here in Chatham County is how George Soros thinks about humanity, and also how he is influencing our elections.
One often hears of the sort of George Soros boogeyman. But, I mean, Soros actually, he is, I believe, the top contributor to the Democratic Party. The second one was Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah. So, and Soros, I don't know. I mean, he had a very difficult upbringing, in my opinion, he fundamentally hates humanity. That's my opinion.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, well, he's doing things that erode the fabric of civilization. Getting DAs elected who refuse to prosecute crime. That's part of the problem in San Francisco and LA and much other cities. So why would you do that?
Was it humanity, or is it just the United States as a whole?
I mean he's pushing things in other countries too, not just here.
Thing?
Yeah. Now, George at this point is pretty old. I mean, he's not, he's basically a bit senile at this point. But I mean, he's very smart. And he's very good at arbitrage. Famously, he shorted the British pound. That's sort of how I think he made his first money, was shorting the pound. So he's good at spotting, basically arbitrage, like spotting value for money that other people don't see. So one of the things he noticed was that that the value for money in local races is much higher than it is in national races. So the lowest value for money is a presidential race. Then next lowest value for money is a Senate race, then a Congress, and but once you get to sort of city and state district attorneys, the value for money is extremely good. And Soros realized that you don't actually need to change the laws; you just need to change how they're enforced. If nobody chooses to enforce the law, or the laws are differentially enforced, it's like changing the laws. That's what he figured out.
But is what's
it's an arbitrage
that this trend that people haven't pulled the brakes on this and have it reverse course?
They're pulling the brakes.
Yeah.
So Elon, he has a lot of insight, and I think taking over Twitter has given him a lot of insight. He goes on in that interview to talk about how the government was basically Twitter was another arm of the government, which was really problematic, and all the issues that he saw. He talks in depth about that, and I think it's very interesting. And so if you have 3 hours that you're doing something and can multitask, I would definitely recommend listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk. It was very informative. And he's just one of the most brilliant men out there. He's, making rockets, and in one part of the interview, he does talk about that. He's like, when I'm being criticized and people are saying things to me, he's like, what are you doing? I'm making rockets. So I think that that's important to also recognizes that there's a lot of people that don't do a lot and they love to criticize people. But at the end of the day, is making rockets, and he's done a lot for free speech, which I can definitely appreciate. Don't know that I'm on board with his Neuralink. I think that it's interesting, and it could be life-changing for a lot of people that maybe can't walk, but I think and the medical advancement that could bring. But I also am very weary as far as people being able just to have the Neuralink, just to have it and be able to plug into it. And I think that then we get into some dangerous territory. That's my personal feelings on it. I think it's incredibly dangerous. But I've also had conversations with people that think that I'm a little bit on, the more cautious side when it comes to that. So, the other thing that just came across yesterday was that Joe Biden actually, there's now proof. And here's the thing. I don't know how much proof we're going to have to get. I don't think we're ever going to be able to impeach them based off the fact that we're not in the majority. But Joe Biden received $40,000 in laundered China money from James Biden and Sarah Biden. Also, why are they not being charged? What's going on with the other Bidens who are also being implicated in all of this stuff that they're doing? So looking forward to seeing them go to jail. I don't know if it will happen, but we shall see. But lots of stuff coming across yesterday about that. And it seems like every day there is something that we're seeing, but stay tuned. We'll probably talk about that more next week. And we are going to go to break, but when we get back, Bill will have the opportunity to sit down with Gil Ballard with his series Meet the Chiefs, and he's from Garden City. He's the police chief there. So when we get back, he'll take a look at that.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannians with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Greetings.
I'm Brittany Brown.
I'm Bill Edwards.
We're the co-hosts of Get Real America.
We're the CEO and the president of something we call the Local Spin, and there's a reason we call it the Local Spin.
We want to cover stories that really impact your life at the local level. Don't have a local business? No problem. If you know people that have a local business, make sure you reach out to them and let them know that they should advertise on our show.
Our rates are extremely reasonable, a lot better than you find in most of the media in this town, and you will get results. I promise. You will be investing in something that's important.
If you don't have the ability to donate, make sure you like our page and share it with your friends. Have you always wanted to own a local media company? Well, now's your opportunity.
Here we are.
Make sure you become an investor today. Make sure that you go to thelocalspin.com/GRA and donate there. We want to provide an evening and morning news to you in a way that you've never seen before, but we need your help.
Yeah, this is something that what NPR said that they were supposed to be. NPR gets something in the range of $450 million of your tax money every year to slant the news the way they want to and to not cover stories that they need to be covering.
You need local media. Make sure to check us out and donate today.
Buddy Gil Ballard, Chief of the Garden City Police. Gil, we got you putting you up at the top.
I see that. You got me working.
Give me the state of law enforcement that you have today, especially in a force like you have where you're in a community that's got, 6 or 7 other forces as well that you're competing against to a degree, cooperating with and everything else.
Yeah, combo, if you're talking about recruitment and retention, obviously there is a lot of stiff competition, but we don't really look at it that way. We look at it that each agency is unique in their responsibilities to their individual communities. And at the end of the day, we just know that there simply aren't a lot of people that are interested in doing this job right now for various reasons. And we understand that, and we're trying to do those things to overcome that and entice people and recruit people who may otherwise not have even thought about law enforcement as a career, because there are certain aspects to it that a lot of people may not realize it's not all sometimes the negativity that you see on TV. And we understand that, there's an old saying from years ago, if it bleeds, it leads. And that's just the unfortunate number. So we're doing the best we can to overcome that and let people know that there's a certain level of great satisfaction from being able to be in a position to help people. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do, is to help people. And we understand that there's an enforcement side that's difficult to deal with sometimes. Nobody wants a speeding ticket. Nobody wants to be arrested for certain aspects. And at the end of the day, that's not what we're looking for, and that's not what we want either. There's just a reality, and there's a term that I use is, without enforcement, there is no compliance. But we'd rather leave the enforcement out of it if we can. And there's just a situation where, as anyone can tell, things are changing, things are adapting. Our area is growing. I was just at the State of the Port address, and business is booming. The governor himself has said, and the statistics prove it, that people are moving to the south, they're moving to Georgia. So when you have that influx of business and people, our job becomes more challenging, especially when there could be, in certain aspects, constant staffing issues. But I see things are really coming full circle. We're doing well. We have a great team. I'm so lucky and privileged to have the opportunity to be the Garden City Police Chief. The city is doing all of the right things, and they're making investments into the police department I'm very excited about. We just recently were approved 2 grants through the state, which is going to allow us to add 3 additional police officers to our staff.
Great.
And it's going to allow us to purchase some technology that's going to help us with intelligence and crime fighting deterrence. And that in case there is a situation, it'll help us solve those cases. Ultimately, we wish there were no shootings. And that leads to another situation where we're starting to see it across the board. But we've had some decreases, but in 2020 was the worst gun violence we'd ever seen. And unfortunately, we had some in 21, and we've had some gun violence this year, which is very unfortunate. But we do see a decrease in that. And part of that is having a great team, the training, the technology, the people. We're in the people business, and we can't do a great job if we don't have great people. So the academy is doing well. There's been a while there that they only had enough students to run 1 class, and we currently have 2 people in the academy now, and they're running 2 classes. So I'm hoping that we're seeing an uptick in those people that are interested in becoming law enforcement officers. And the kind of the full circle of that is, if you ever had an interest in being a law enforcement officer, it's never been a better time to be a law enforcement officer. Everybody's hiring. There are multiple disciplines and specializations that are available to someone in this line of work. And that's the great thing. That's the great news. So we're excited about the future. I'm excited. I know 2023 is not over. And it's been a very good year for us. We're actually, we continue to be state certified. We continue to be nationally accredited. This is our 20th year. We're very excited about that, proud of that. There's not too many agencies that can say that, not only in the United States, but in Georgia. We're actually going to the conference here soon to go before the committee to be reaccredited. And I expect that to be official for beginning for 2024 to remain a nationally accredited police agency. So we're excited about that.
Gil, I don't think people realize, how big Garden City is. It's bigger. You've got a big jurisdiction here. You've got the port, and I presume you have to coordinate with port police and everything else. But
yes.
It's a big footprint here.
It's a big footprint, about 16 square miles, give or take. And a lot of people don't realize that we're doing it currently with the 3 positions that just got added due to the grant that we got. We're now moving into 39 full-time police officer positions, which includes me. So imagine the footprint from the port over to Highway 17, and then we're sort of in the middle of Chatham County and Pooler and the city of Savannah, and we've got several state highways that run through Garden City. I think we do a great job with the team that we have. but sometimes I do get those calls about, well, what about this and what about that? And then I don't think people realize it's not as if we have 50 or more police officers. We're doing a very good job with the amount of people we've had, and we've been short-staffed. But right now we're getting staffed up. We just got the 3 positions approved, so we hope to fill those sometime after the first of the year. And I'm excited about the investments that the mayor and city council has made into the police department, including salaries and benefits. I personally am excited about it because I think we check all the boxes. We're very competitive now. And there was a time where we weren't. And you would hope that you wouldn't have to be short and staffed and get critical at certain points. But I think what I'm most proud of, I don't think the people realize those moments. And unfortunately, if crime does occur, they'd like to see us solve those crimes, and I think we do a really good job with that.
Well, I think you do too, and I think this is an appealing position here, even though maybe Savannah might pay more or Chatham County might pay more, but you've got somebody that says, I like the quality of life here, and the money's not that much different.
Well, and that's true in any profession. It's not always about the money. Although, again, I can say, thankfully, we are very competitive right now, and I certainly appreciate that. And so our police officers are in a very good position. There's just certain aspects of the job which are difficult. My responsibility is to make sure they have the ability to grow, and that I care about them, and that the city cares about them, and they're going to have opportunities, and that we're investing again in vehicles and technology and training, and we're doing that now. The county has just switched to the new CAD system, which we're now finally coordinating, and we have the ability to see dispatch on our computers in our cars, which we haven't done for years, which I'm super excited about that.
Super.
So that is something that's happening now. I appreciate the county taking that project on. A lot of coordination, a lot of working together amongst all the agencies, and a lot of funding that's going to go into that. But I think at the end of the day, the community is going to be the one that reaps the benefits of that. And I think it's going to make it safer for our police officers, because they're not going to be fighting for airtime on the radio, because we're able to eliminate a lot of that talking and put it on a computer, so that when there is an emergency, they can speak and they can get on the radio. So that's exciting. So we're, again, in a very good position. But there's certain aspects, again, of the job that I can't control. There's an issue with, continuing with opioid overdoses and fentanyl and the drugs associated with that. And then you have the situation of mental illness, and then homelessness. You can certainly see it more today than you ever could. People asking for money on the side of the road and so forth, or being a nuisance as far as businesses and harassing customers and so forth. So that's something we've had to work with. But what we want to make sure is we're checking all the boxes internally that I can't control that we're a 24/7 operation, and that's the way it's been, and that's the way it'll always be. And there's just some individuals that don't want to work midnights. They don't want to work weekends. They're in a tough position that when a hurricane comes, you can't go home. We need you here. So there's certain aspects that I hope the public appreciates, that it's just not a job. It does require sacrifice. It does require commitment. We're committed to doing the right thing by our employees, and I think we've done that, and I think we're going to continue to do that. But there's just certain aspects that if you want a Monday through Friday job, 8 to 5, with no worries, we can't provide that.
This ain't it. Yeah.
This isn't it. And not everybody's in a position to be able to do the job. And that doesn't mean any better than anyone else. It's just we in the South, as I told you, the population growth, the businesses, there's a multitude of options for someone to do whatever their heart desires.
We don't, fortunately here, especially here in the sunny South, we don't have the anti-police sentiment that is around some of the rest of the country that the media seems to rely on. So have we reaped the benefits of that a little bit? Have you had New York cops or Chicago cops come down here and say, this might be a nice place for me to live and work?
Well, we have seen individuals that want to move here, not necessarily a New York police officer or that situation, but we just had one recently graduate the academy who moved here from Virginia. And we have another candidate that's looking at moving here from out of state. Haven't been able to personally take advantage of those who are law enforcement. However, they're leaving those areas that they are, and they're looking towards us as for a career, and we're excited about that.
Well, you have a lot of people, I think, on your staff, including yourself, where law enforcement runs deep. This is kind of in your DNA and blood, isn't it?
Well, it is a little history. A lot of people don't know this, but the long-term Chief Butch Chan, as he's known, was the chief of Pooler. That was my uncle, and a mentor to me. And I guess when you're saying lineage, my two sons have now become law enforcement officers.
Cool.
One works for Port Wentworth and one works for Pooler, and so I'm very proud of them. I did not push them into this line of work, but they've seen it, obviously, their whole life of commitment and late nights and being away to training, or unfortunate situations where I have to be at work, such as hurricanes and so forth like that, and they're giving it a try. So they're still young and they're starting their careers, and hopefully they'll find it as fulfilling as I have.
Well, thank you for what you do, and you've got a great department here, and you're keeping the torch lit.
Well, I appreciate that. I can certainly say it's challenging, but rewarding. And whether it's I'm a glutton for punishment, or I just have that push or faith that things will work out, and I believe that we're doing the right things for the right reasons at the right time. And I think that leads to our success, and we have great people. And when you have that mixture, great things are going to happen, and that's what we're excited about. And we know there's going to be more great things to come.
What do you want to say to parents and to kids that are coming out of high school or maybe college that don't know exactly what they want to do about going into the law enforcement field?
Well, it's like any type of situation or career. If you have that drive, or if you just don't know, it's just like any other challenge in life. You won't know until you try it. So why not give it a try? I mean, there's this thing about sometimes people, you may not make as much money as you could in the private sector because we're not necessarily selling a product or making a product, but we provide a service that no one else gets the opportunity to do. And then I understand personally that you don't necessarily get to pick your police department. And so I take that responsibility to heart to say, look, we have a service to provide, and we're going to provide a professional service, which kind of goes back to the whole state certification and national accreditation. That kind of keeps us on mark, and it opens ourselves up for other assessors in both those levels to come in, and they review and analyze what we do. And I think it keeps us on track. And so with that being said, if you want to be in a position to help people, what better place than you can do it than in a law enforcement spectrum? But again, EMS needs people, fire services need people. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to if you feel that urge to do public service, then give any one of those things a try. You can always switch gears. Many of us have already done that. I've just been very fortunate that I've been here almost 30 years now, and I was fortunate to land here, and I've loved it the entire time, and it's worked out.
Yeah, as a matter. When did you decide you wanted to be a police officer? Maybe Chief Chan.
I started. Chief Chan was a mentor, and then I went to high school, and then I was going to go into business, and I actually got a degree, and was headed that way. And then there was just this desire to serve and help, and whether that's a lot of people don't know this about me, but now my father's no longer here, but my parents are deaf. They cannot hear and they cannot speak, and so I do speak sign language, and a lot of people don't know that about me. And so when you're raised in that environment, I'm put in a position where I'm in a position where I'm helping them along through life, because I'm having to, in the beginning I was learning and I was just translating. But over time I saw where there were people taking advantage of them because of their handicap. And so my translation really came about. I'm doing more than just translating. I'm hearing what's saying, listening to what's being said. And if something like buying a car, something so simple, if the interest rate doesn't sound right, now I'm not translating, I'm saying, wait a minute, I think my parents are getting duped here. And at the end of the day, because we do think about these things, I think that part of caring and helping and trying to help them be better in their own lives has translated to a situation where I want to help others. And I think that's generally where it comes from.
Cool. Well, thank you for what you do and appreciate your time. Thanks, Gil.
Well, I appreciate it, Bill. It's good to see you again.
Always a pleasure.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke. When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like.
rather than my skills. I want to be judged by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted.
Based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended by my coworkers and walk around the office
On eggshells.
and have my words policed
By HR.
words like grandfather, peanut gallery, long time no see, no can do. When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long.
when I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Welcome back to Get Real America. Thanks so much for Bill doing that interview with the chief in Garden City. And now we have Jay Ratliff coming to talk to us about what is going on in the airline industry, which is always interesting.
Yeah, the wild and wacky world of aviation, never a boring moment, young lady, that's for sure.
Well, so people were concerned about getting on their flights in Halloween costumes. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, the FAA, as we were approaching Halloween, they said, look, it's kind of become a thing that people dress up to get on their flight. And they're saying it's okay to have fun, just don't overdo it, don't cross the line. And they put a press release out saying there's nothing scarier than an unruly passenger. So they're just trying to encourage everybody to behave. And you've got airlines right now that actually, for flights yesterday, today, and couple this week, they're actually letting you board early if you are in your favorite Halloween get up. So it's kind of become a thing now. And you know, the funniest thing to me is you probably have people spending more time getting their attire right now for Thanksgiving travel than they do any other time of the year. Because a lot of people just roll out of bed, keep their jammies on, shuffle out in their sandals with their pillow and get on the plane and go to sleep. You know, at least some of these outfits are taking time for them to put together. And who knows, maybe somebody will dress as a traveler of old and actually, I don't know, dress up a little bit. That would be fun.
I know. Well, I will say when I fly, I'm always like, what do these people do? They just roll out of bed and put on some stretchy pants and head to the airport? Drives me crazy.
Yeah, people always have fun with, you know, people dressed at Walmart or wherever like this. Look, Walmart doesn't have anything on what we see at the airport. Because sometimes people will wear too much clothes, too little clothes, clothes with offensive language. Maybe they haven't taken a bath in 3 months. I mean, whatever it is, we deal with everything at the airport. And it just makes it that much more interesting. And, you know, the idea of enjoying travel, I always say that those days left us long ago. Now it's a matter of just trying to endure travel. They should have a reality show on, you know, just how bad do these people want to make it to their destination? Let's throw all this stuff in their way and see what happens because it's nutty.
I like your idea. I think that would be very entertaining to watch. And did they have any incidents over Halloween with any of the costumes?
No, we did have some people that thought bringing fake swords, hand grenades, those types of things were okay because they said, look, these are inert. They don't work. And the TSA tried to explain to people, look, it may be a fake hand grenade, but that doesn't mean on the plane people are going to know that it's a fake hand grenade. So you're not allowed to take it on. You can go to the TSA.gov website and they put up the items that they have taken from travelers. It's like people that want to travel with fireworks. The thought is, I'll buy them now so I don't have to worry about it when I get there. And then they email me saying, Jay, I can't believe they took away my fireworks. And I said, well, in our industry, we call those explosives. And those are not allowed. Oh, okay, I get it now.
Oh, it makes you wonder where these people get educated, Jay.
Well, some of them, they only travel once or twice a year. Maybe they've flown for 5 years or longer. So the idea of security and things, they don't spend a lot of time on. And I tell people, look, if you've not flown in a while, go to TSA.gov. They've got a lot of information there on what's allowed, what's not, and then get you to a point where you can, be acquainted a little bit more with what's going on. And then, of course, show up early. You always have these people that are licensed to carry a firearm, like I am, and sometimes they'll forget they happen to have their firearm in their carry-on bag. Well, they don't mean to do it, but when they get there, all the bells and whistles go off, and then there's a bunch of paperwork. Depends on which airport, how much trouble you get in, and it happens. Look, I was in an airport in California, flying out, and I had, 3 boxes of ammunition for my revolver in my carry-on bag. Totally forgot about it. And they pulled me off to the side saying, sir, can you come over here? And this is on our return trip, which means where we were flying out of, they didn't catch it. And I said, yes. They said, we happen to notice you've got 3 boxes of ammunition here, 50 rounds per box. And I'm thinking, thank God it wasn't a 4th box, because then they have to fill out a report. I get fined. And I apologized. They apologized to me. I said, look, you're just doing your job. And they said, what do you want done with the ammo? I said, well, donate it, get rid of it, do whatever. I was just fortunate to get on the plane. But, if somebody like me can forget stuff in that, it happens because you just get used to carrying it. And my wife, of course, is over there, bless her little heart, smiling, saying, oh, you're the aviation analyst, right? Don't you tell people not to bring an ammunition? Yeah. I deserve every bit of that for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure your wife loved that, actually. She probably thought it was fun.
I take a wrong turn down the wrong terminal. I'll take 4 steps and stop, turn around. She's back there with that look on her face that says, why don't you follow me, aviation analyst? I'll get you to the right person there.
I bet you she's a hoot to fly with.
She is a lot of fun, believe me.
Oh, well, I also heard that they are now going to allow a pilotless air taxi for commercial flight activity. This is kind of concerning to me, especially since in San Francisco, they just stopped all the driverless cars because of the safety issues. So how do you think this is going to go, Jay?
Well, it's on the horizon. It's coming our way. And I really think that this is going to change aviation in a lot of ways. In fact, it's going to be a game changer in a lot of ways. This is a firm in China that has received their airworthiness certificate to operate a 2-passenger pilotless, it looks like a big drone, but it's an electrical vertical takeoff and landing Uber, if you will. I mean, you just jump into it, and there's a touch screen. You punch in where you're going, and the doors close. Up you go. It takes off. It flies at 80 miles an hour. It can go for about 18 miles. But the idea is on some of these short connections where people are trying to get from point A to point B, if it's affordable, it might end up being something that passengers look at doing, especially in places in China where Beijing and other large cities, they have so many people that are licensed drivers, they can only drive on certain days of the week so that they share the road. So the thought of having something like this for commuters would be good. But, think of all the natural disasters that we have. Let's say the fires that we had in Kauai, where they're trying to rush in first responders and evacuate people from that area. You could send in 100 of these aircraft that could land, bringing in the first responders. You could have people that are trying to evacuate get on them, and out they go. So you're bringing people into an affected area, you're bringing people out of an affected area, and that's one of the reasons that it is especially ideal with the vertical takeoff and landing, because it doesn't require a runway. You just need a patch of space big enough for that bad boy to land, and then you're good to go. So as far and the companies in China have spent, I think, about 40,000 flight hours testing all of these different pieces of equipment, and they have passed with, pardon me, flying colors. And the thought is United and other airlines here in the United States are investing a lot of money in these, saying that these are going to be the future for short hop flights. Nothing long range, because it takes too much weight to get these bad boys off the ground. But, if you're in one side of New York and you need to get over to JFK and you're talking about jumping on one of these to commute over, you can do it. Just hop on over, catch your flight, and away you go. And that's why we're seeing hundreds of millions of dollars being invested in a lot of this research and development, because airlines are convinced that down the road, this is going to be something that you won't fly from Savannah to Atlanta or anything, long term. But for some of these 20, 30, 40-minute hops, they think that this is the way to go. So this is the first step, getting a permission to fly these from a commercial basis. And you can Google the image on these and see them. They look like, yes, a big drone. But look, if they landed one in your parking lot over there and they said, Jay, you want to come over and jump on it? I'd be first in line to travel than they do any other time of the year. Because a lot of people just roll out of bed, keep their jammies on, shuffle out in their sandals with their pillow, and get on the plane and go to sleep. At least some of these outfits are taking time for them to put together. And who knows, maybe somebody will dress as a traveler of old and actually, I don't know, dress up a little bit. That would be fun.
I know. Well, I will say when I fly, I'm always like, what do these people do? They just roll out of bed and put on some stretchy pants and head to the airport? Drives me crazy.
Yeah, people always have fun with, people dressed at Walmart or wherever like this. Look, Walmart doesn't have anything on what we see at the airport, because sometimes people will wear too much clothes, too little clothes, clothes with offensive language. Maybe they haven't taken a bath in 3 months. I mean, whatever it is, we deal with everything at the airport, and it just makes it that much more interesting. And, the idea of enjoying travel, I always say that those days left us long ago. Now it's a matter of just trying to endure travel. They should have a reality show on, just how bad do these people want to make it to their destination? Let's throw all this stuff in their way and see what happens, because it's nutty.
I like your idea. I think that would be very entertaining to watch. And did they have any incidents over Halloween with any of the costumes?
No, we did have some people that thought bringing fake swords, hand grenades, those types of things were okay, because they said, look, these are inert. They don't work. And the TSA tried to explain to people, look, it may be a fake hand grenade, but that doesn't mean on the plane people are going to know that it's a fake hand grenade. So you're not allowed to take it on. You can go to the TSA.gov website, and they put up the items that they have taken from travelers. It's like people that want to travel with fireworks. The thought is, I'll buy them now, so I don't have to worry about it when I get there. And then they email me saying, Jay, I can't believe they took away my fireworks. And I said, well, in our industry, we call those explosives, and those are not allowed on the last trip. We were getting an Uber, and a little thing popped up and said, hey, we've got driverless vehicles there. You have to sign this release to be able to take access of it. And I looked at my adventurous wife and said, what do you think? She said, not on your life. So I didn't get the chance to get one of those bad boys. I would like to, because I think that would be fascinating to see how they operate. Plus, you're not talking about a high rate of speed or anything there. So, and my wife has seen me drive. I thought she'd be fine with an Uber with no driver, because it would have to be better than what she endures when we drive from Savannah at our home here back to our home in Ohio.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think I would really like your wife. Well, the other thing is we have United passengers that are definitely not comfortable with the new way that they want to board flights now, which is interesting to me.
Well, yeah, the idea is they figure they can save a few minutes off of every boarding by having the window people board first, and then having the second group, which is the aisle passengers, second, and then the window people or the aisle people third. So window first, middle seat second, then the aisle. So they call it Wilma as far as the boarding process. And the thought is, Jay, that makes perfect sense. You get all the window people seated, then you bring on the middle seat, get them taken care of, and then the aisle seat passengers get to board last. Well, the problem is we're seeing a lot of families that are boarding. Like, wait a minute, we're sitting in different seats. You want us to board 3 different times? I'm not having my 6-year-old board last. I'm sorry. I'm not, sending them on first. They're going to board with us. So they're working their way through that. But also, and you know this because of how, when you travel, the most premium prized, coveted space on an aircraft is that overhead storage compartment.
Yes, it is.
So what happens is when you have an aisle seat passenger that's forced to board last, that's a preferred seat, so they paid more for their seat than certainly the middle seat and probably the window seat. And they board last to be told, I'm sorry, all the overhead storage space has been taken. Let us get your bag and we will check it for you for free. No, I'm carrying it so you don't have to check it. While we do have some space available back over row 35 and you're in row 12, do you want to put your carry-on bag back there? No. I want it directly above me like it's supposed to be. So the bottom line is United tried this in 2017 with 5 test cities, and it failed miserably. It's a horrible idea. So why some bean counter and some corner office thought, hey, let's roll this idea out again because now I know we can make it work. I guarantee you this individual or this group of people have never once worked a gate anywhere in their life because they would know it's not going to work. People are not going to do what they're supposed to. They're going to throw all those bags in the overhead storage compartment, and you're going to be ticking off people that are spending a lot of money to fly. We should have a running pool here on how long it's going to take United to walk this back because the agents don't like it, the passengers don't like it, and it's something that, again, makes 0 sense. But, they think in a logical world, this stuff should work okay. Well, guess what? People don't do what they're supposed to when they fly, and it's a bad, bad idea.
Well, and what about the back to front? Because I've seen that done, and it seems to be a little bit more successful.
And your logical thinking is spot on, thinking that it would be better to board people from the back of the airplane forward. But in that same gist of our conversation about that valuable overhead storage space, what happens with people that are seated in rows 25, 26, and 30 when they board an airplane? They get to the coach compartment in row 6, and what's happening? They're tossing their bags in the overhead storage compartment.
I don't know why people do that. It drives me crazy.
It does. So what happens is when those poor people that are forced to board last again, rows 5 through 10, they get on, and what do they find? All the overhead storage compartments taken. And they're like, wait a minute, there's nobody seated in this section. How can all these bag spaces be filled? Because the bozos in the back that weren't doing what they should have been doing threw them in the front. My wife and I, a lot of times, will fly first class. We get the non-refundable discounted first class seats. We don't pay the big amounts. But people in coach a lot of times will go in there and throw their bag in the overhead storage compartment in first class. And most of the time, you've got a very protective, thank God for them, first class flight attendants like, oh, no. Nah, baby, nah. Get that bag out and you take it with you to the back. But they're still going to dump it in a spot earlier. And you have the same problem as this, this window to middle seat to aisle seat boarding process. You have people that are not putting their bags where they go, and it's creating a lot of last minute confusion. You're seeing flights delayed, people not wanting to give their bag up because they know that this airline's shorthanded and it's going to be a 35-minute area where it's going to be for me to be able to wait for my bag in the baggage claim area. So yeah, it's nuts, and it's going to continue to get worse.
Well, so as we wrap it up here, number one, I have to ask about Atlanta Airport. I know that there have been several things I've seen where there are massive delays at that airport. Are we still seeing this? And is that going to impact Thanksgiving travel?
It's a lot of them currently are weather issues.
Okay.
They've had some minor construction issues that have been giving some headaches, but we're hoping for good weather the week of Thanksgiving because, look, that's the Super Bowl week for airlines. The busiest travel day of the year is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. The second busiest travel day is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on things between now and then. And airlines are praying for good weather because those flights are full. You get a canceled flight, you don't have places to put anybody.
Wow. Well, happy travel season to everyone. Thanks so much, Jay. Where can people find you?
JRatliff.com is the easiest way to get a hold of me, or they can just Google Jay Ratliff, aviation analyst, and they can find my website quickly enough. And if anybody has any travel-related issues, problems, questions, they can certainly reach me through my business website at jratliff.com. And as quickly as my schedule allows, I'll certainly get right back with them and help out as much as I can.
Well, thanks so much, Jay, for always giving us some of your time. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Looking forward to it. A lot of fun as always. Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934. With personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
Welcome back to Get Real America. I'm Brittany Brown. Bill is out on vacation. He'll be back on Monday, which is a good thing because then we can actually have more of a conversation. Although I do love being here. Grateful for Gil Ballard. I think it was really interesting that he grew up with mute parents and how that changed his communication style and why that probably makes him a really good chief of police out there in Garden City. So, hopefully we can be more supportive of our officers here. I think that they do a great job door knocking over the summer and into the fall for the David Tootle campaign. Met a great police officer who talked about how he doesn't feel supported. So if you see a police officer, make sure to thank them for their service because what they do is very hard work and I know none of us would want to do it. So and always love talking to Jay because he always has hilarious stories about what's going on in the airline industry, which you would never believe that these people exist, but they do. So one of the things that I talked about earlier in the show was these Soros DAs and the impact that they have on a community. Well, not only in Chatham County, but across the country. And it was amazing to me to see one of the sheriffs address kind of some of the issues that are going on and the fact that they have a 12-year-old boy who murdered his siblings sitting in Baltimore right now. And he was shocked that he was actually charged.
Sergeant Phillips, tell me that. So we were just talking, I was talking to the sheriff about this, but the juvenile crime issues that you guys are having, you're not inability to even talk to a juvenile, even with their parental.
If a parent is there, the juvenile has a right to an attorney that the parent cannot waive.
So if you're
the
called
parent
to a
legal
scene,
guardian cannot waive that child's right to an attorney.
In Maryland.
So
you're called to a scene, whatever the situation is, you've got somebody under 18, you can't even talk to that child
if it
without an
pertains
attorney.
to where you would need to Mirandize them, you cannot even talk to that child. You can talk to them as a witness, but if it comes to a point as they're in a custodial type situation, you cannot talk to that child without that child having an attorney there. And even if the parent wishes that child to waive his rights to an attorney, the parent does not have that right anymore to do that for that child.
Well, that's just asking for disaster.
I agree.
So there actually is another video talking about the child that he's 12 years old and killed both of his siblings. And the sheriff talks about how he was surprised that he was even charged. And I think it's quite incredible, the laws that they're passing that are making it impossible for parents to be parents. And they're making it impossible for law enforcement to get to the bottom of things. I think that we are doing a disservice to our communities when we do things like this. I don't know how productive it is to have police officers that are unable to question someone, especially when they're a suspect, no matter how old they are. I think it's a huge problem, especially because we are seeing these children, for whatever reason. It could be what they're being taught in schools. It could be the fact that they're not going to school. It could be the fact that they don't have support at home. I'm not sure what all of the issues are, but I'm sure it's a wide variety of issues that we're facing in this country when it comes to our youth. They're angry. We're seeing crime on the rise with these younger folks, and just depression. I mean, you name it, it's happening in these communities. And I just don't know how we solve this, but I do think that we need to consider that we need to support our police officers and make sure that we maintain some safety. Baltimore, definitely, I lived there for a few months. I lived there for about 3 months and probably would not live there again. It was not my favorite place to live. And the laws that are passed there and the way that the DA is enforcing those laws, not really a benefit to the citizens. So interesting stuff. It's also interesting that Antony Blinken, he was questioned on the Senate floor, and, these insurrectionists showed up, and guess what? They didn't get arrested.
Committee will suspend.
John, so
I was just going to say, as we watch these protesters, I thought this could go on for maybe a half an hour or so, but they're standing up en masse now, so they'll all get bounced very quickly.
Unbelievable. These people are, it depends on what your cause is, I guess, whether you get thrown out and put in jail and not charged and just held for months and months on end. That looked like they were disrupting a formal proceeding of the Senate, but I could be wrong. Don't believe your lying eyes, right? And as we continue to look at this stuff, I think it's important to see that there really is a two-tiered justice system in this country. We look at what they're trying to do to Trump in Colorado. It'll be interesting to see how that trial plays out, especially with this leftist judge that gave money to an organization that their whole goal was to take Trump and America First candidates off the ballot. She said she doesn't remember doing it and did not recuse herself. The thing is whether they're able to do it or not, it will impact the 2024 election. I think that's why we're also seeing people not drop out of the Republican race, although having Mike Pence out of the race is probably a good thing. I think it's a waste of resources for these people to be in the race. I do think it takes away from our ability to get out the vote and things like that, and where other money could go. So, we'll see what happens in 2024. I think it's going to get pretty wild. And of course, we have Senator Johnson talking about the National Archives and how they located 82,000 emails related to Joe Biden emails that were under pseudonyms.
Do you think the Intelligence Committee should be doing a damage assessment, both in the House and the Senate, of potential exposure of the Bidens on a national security basis?
Yes. And of course, the Senate committees ought to be investigating this as well. But under the leadership of the Democrats, they have no interest in this whatsoever. I guess that level of compromise under a fake scenario, a completely false narrative that Trump might have collude with Russia. I mean, that sent everybody hair on fire. This could be the most dangerous thing to America. That was all false, completely untrue. Yet Senator Grass and I uncovered all the vast web of foreign financial entanglements flowing in from all kinds of countries. Many of them are our adversaries, And the media is not apparently upset about that. So again, the double standard is grotesque. The hypocrisy is grotesque. But this represents a real threat to our national security. Again, we don't know all the details, but I've said this in the past. Chinese intelligence, Russian intelligence, Iranian intelligence, they probably do. And I think it does absolutely compromise this president, and it is a threat to our national security as a result.
You know, I do think that we're going to see more stuff come out on Biden. However, I don't know that we're actually going to see any sort of action taken against him. We never saw it with Hillary Clinton. There are clear bribery that happens in these positions and people just look the other way. I think this is probably the most evidence we've seen come out against someone in the federal government. And this is the president of the United States and his family. I hope that it comes to a resolution and that's one that's satisfactory to the American people. I don't believe it will be. Again, I think it's promising news that I saw multiple videos of Joe Biden being probably one of the number one Halloween costumes for teenage age children to go trick-or-treating in. And the fact that they understood that Joe Biden is basically a bumbling fool and trips over himself and gets lost. I mean, the videos I've seen are hilarious, and it's not good for the country. But also, I think the fact that these children are recognizing that it's a really big problem and that this is our president, and they are continuing to make fun of him, I think that it's a huge eye-opener for a lot of people and makes me have a little bit of faith in our youth. So, and they were brave enough to do it. Also saw a brother and sister that were Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and it was hilarious. So lots of great videos out there from Halloween. If you haven't seen them, you should. And that's going to wrap the show today. Remember, we do need your help and support. This is a mission for conservatism. In 2024, we have the elections coming up, and where's the voice in Savannah? Where's all of this conservative media? We do want to grow this. We want to do a lot more investigative reporting, and we want to dig deeply into what's going on here in our county. I think that that's really important because you're seeing all of these investigations happen at the national level and at the state level, but who's doing it at the county level? We're not exposing enough of what's going on, and we need people to look at our budgets. We need to see where all of this money's going. I believe the county commissioner budget has doubled in the last several years, and I don't feel like we're getting any more resources, or I don't think our roads are any better. So I think that that's something that we need to focus on, and we need people to support us. So make sure you become a member. Bill and I are actually going to do some of we're going to do some episodes on the vaccine. We've kind of avoided it because we don't want to be kicked off of all of the social media platforms. So we'll be doing that behind a paywall, and those will get very interesting. So make sure you become a member so that you can watch those. And, become an advertiser. We really do need people to support us and support this mission. And, our country's at stake, and that includes our county, and staying local is the best way to make an impact. So please do that. And we will be back on Monday with Bill too. So we'll see you then.